back to Hey Kentucky. We are happy to be joined in the preparation for the debate on Wednesday night by Amy McGrath, one of the three candidates who will be joining us on LEX 18. How are you?
It's great to be here.
First of all, let me express my condolences on the passing of your father. I know that's difficult in the course of this, but we obviously wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to start by talking about where we are in the campaign. This has been a lot of attention since you first got in. Has it been like you thought it was going to be, or is all these national people calling you and all of that? What's it been like?
Well, national people don't really call me. I mean, it's really been about the people here. And so, in a sense, I wanted it to be that way. Part of the problem with campaigns of this sort is you do have to raise money. And so, you know,
it's such a terrible process, isn't it?
It's a corrupt system. It's a terrible system. And, you know, that's been obviously the most difficult part. But, you know, I'm going to do it because that's what we need.
Now, I want to ask you about a couple issues kind of that have been in the news and what might happen if you were to win. There's been a lot of talk about immigration and securing the border.
Sure.
And President Trump has talked about authorizing to send National Guard to the border. Is that something you think is necessary or a good decision?
No, I don't. Number one, our National Guard troops, they're like active duty military. Our job as active duty military, and I know because I was in it for 24 years, is to fight and win wars, not to secure the border. So one, that's not what we're trained to do. Two, this is not a crisis. We don't need to do this. And three, you know, it's really a 5th century answer to a 21st century problem. We need to invest more in things like unmanned aerial vehicles, more technology towards the border. What are more troops going to go there? What are they going to do? Think about that. What are they going to do? They're going to sit there and guard? It just doesn't make any sense, and it's really a political move on the
Would you support some of the talks about paths to citizenship for folks that are already here, and what would a plan like that you would support look like?
Well, first of all, I have served in the military with folks who are not even American citizens, and you know, I believe that DACA recipients, for example, these are folks who grew up here. They came into this country under no fault of their own, and we need to provide them a path. They're Americans. They are Americans as you and I are.
A lot in this district.
A lot
more than folks realize,
in Kentucky,
I think. Yes.
Absolutely. And so let's do the right thing here. Let's make them be full citizens. Let's give them the opportunities that make them pay, you know, full taxes like everybody else, you know, as citizens. Have them vote. This is what we need in this country. They're here. They're not going anywhere. Yeah. Let's bring them in. So yes, I would be for a path to full citizenship for DACA recipients for sure.
For the last couple of weeks, when people have heard we were doing this debate, I've asked people, what would you like me to ask during the debate? And I get this question in some form all the time. What exactly would you do, or do you believe that folks, everyday citizens, that a lot of people think Congress has completely forgotten about them. If elected and you're trying to set policy that really helps the everyday American, what do you think that would be?
One single policy?
Well, no, or just a few. Just that you believe, for the average person watching this who's saying, I feel like Congress is completely disconnected from what I do.
Well, I think some of it is education about what Congress is supposed to do and what they should be doing. One of the big things that I talk about, and I just came out with my economic plan, which is really long, it's 30 pages, but I'm a planner, right? I was in the military and we plan for everything. And you ought to know what I think. And so one of the things I talk about is having the federal government looked upon as something that should invest in the public goods again, not something that is this big bad entity. I believe that we need federal investment in 21st century infrastructure, for example, and that needs to come from the federal government. The same way FDR brought electricity to Appalachia, the same way Republican President Eisenhower built the interstate highway systems. We need people that think that way again and look to the future. And so that's what I would tell people. That's what our federal government needs to do. Why? Because the federal government is a whole of our entire country. We help each other out. It's not just about one county or one region. It's about helping the entire country and lifting everybody up.
We've talked last time you were on here a little bit about on healthcare, and I believe you said that you were not for a single-payer healthcare system, but that you believe there needed to be some changes made to the current Obamacare Affordable Care Act system. What are those?
Well, okay, so first, I am for universal coverage of everybody. Okay, there's lots of ways to get there. It doesn't have to be single payer. And this is what the Republicans will always say. Well, universal coverage means, you know, the government's going to take over tomorrow. No, it doesn't. Okay, there's lots of ways to get there. So one of the things I advocate for is a public option. All right, so you have, for example, under the Affordable Care Act exchanges, you may have 1, 2, or 3 private insurers as an option. I propose you ought to have Uncle Sam.
There's some people, though, that argue that if you do that, the public option will essentially make it impossible for the private option to compete, or if it doesn't, why would anyone choose the public option?
Well,
that it makes it difficult to make it work. You think it can?
I do think it can. Remember, insurance companies, before they became for-profit, were non-for-profit. They were nonprofit. So they were able to thrive as nonprofits for many, many years. Now, they're going to have to adjust if we have an Uncle Sam option, but that isn't a bad thing. I don't think there's a whole lot of viewers out here that believe that our healthcare system right now is perfect.
No, they do not.
Okay?
When Jim Gray was here last week, I asked him what his most compelling case for his candidacy was. And he basically said experience matters and that you need to have someone who's been in government. And that was clearly probably a shot at you because you're the one that...
bring it on, because I'd like to bring it back.
So what is the most compelling case for you?
Well, one, we have to remember this is a federal office. And if you want to talk about experience, you look at what Congress does. Most of what Congress does is at the international level and at the national level. I've spent my entire adult life in the international and national level as a member of our military. We badly need members of Congress that understand the current conflicts that we're in right now. We badly need more veterans. We also need more regular people. Okay, there's a lot of rich CEOs in Congress right now. There's not a whole lot of moms. All right, so we need people from all walks of life. But I think the biggest reason is you have to look at who's going to be a change agent. Who's going to be somebody who did not grow up within a political party, who's going to go there and do the right thing to represent the people, and not necessarily just bow down to whatever the party says. Look, my husband's a Republican. I'm a Democrat.
Your husband's a Republican?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
But that's America. That is America. And you know what? I don't want to go to Washington to represent the people of the 6th District as a Democrat or as a Republican. I want to go as an American. Because that's what we need right now.
Probably, no doubt, the biggest political figure in this country right now is Donald Trump. With all that you've heard and the investigations that have gone on, do you believe if you went to Congress and you were asked to vote to impeach Donald Trump, would you do it?
That depends. And it depends on what happens with the Mueller investigation. I mean, I'm not going to sit here right now and pass judgment when we don't have all of the facts. It's a prudent thing to do to let the investigation go to its full completion and then look at the facts. And if the facts show that, he committed an impeachable offense, then I would have no problems doing that. But let's look at the facts when the time comes.
I've asked all the candidates this, and I've gotten different answers. Donald Trump's been president for a year and a half. Nobody messes up everything. Right. Is there something that he has done that you actually agree with?
Well, I actually think that the budget that they passed in going past sequestration with regards to the military funding was good. And the reason why I think it was good is because our planes were falling out of the sky. And our ships were, in bad need of repair. And remember, though, that was a function of sequestration, which was a function of the Tea Party and the Republicans back in 2011. So I don't want to put, too much blame on the last administration because really it was both sides. But I believe that him signing that, I think, is a good thing for our military.
Well, Amy will join the other candidates, Jim Gray and Reggie Thomas, Wednesday night here on LEX 18. You were saying this is your first TV debate coming up Wednesday. Are you looking forward to it?
Sure. Bring it. I love new experiences.
Well, good. It'll be from 7 to 8 o'clock. It's at Transylvania University, and you can watch it right here live. Thank you very much, Amy. Good luck to you.